Hi there, welcome to episode 2 of Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. My name is Icenrye. In today's episode, we're going to look at the age-old question, paper versus paperless caching. I'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of both. Also, I'm going to feature the Prince George Pentcachealon. The Prince George Pentcachealon is a series of 5 caches. Each cache will contain a clue to where the 6th and final cache is located. And we're going hunting in this episode. As a matter of fact, just down the road a little ways from here is a brand new cache. I haven't found it yet. So we're going to take the camera and we're going to do a little hunting. Now you may be asking yourself, why is he standing in front of a boxcar? Well, other than the fact that there's a cache hidden behind me, this is a clue. Think outside the box. So enough babbling for now. Let's go find some caches. We've now arrived at the cache site. The cache we're looking for is Nukshuk by PG Goldwing. And a Nukshuk is an Inuit word meaning route marker. As a matter of fact, they're using one as a logo for the 2010 Winter Olympics to be held in Vancouver, British Columbia. According to my GPS, I'm approximately 130 meters away from it, actually in the direction of the camera. So, let's go looking. This is an Nukshuk. This isn't the one we're looking for, but what we're looking for is fairly similar to this. We're now just meters away from the cache. The cache is actually located on the top of a cliff that runs along a major east-west artery near Prince George. It's actually quite a nice view from up here, as you can see. So now comes one of my favorite parts of geocaching, actually trying to find a darn little box. And I'm not actually going to show you where it is, I'm just going to go look for it, and then I'll bring it back to you. Okay, you found it. Here it is. Nice small little lock box. I'm a big fan of these suckers myself. So let's see what's inside it. Okay. Logbook, pencil. Let's see what else we have. You'll never know what you run into. Not all geocachers signed a logbook. That's interesting. Little pen. The geocaching note. A couple little lapel pins. That's cute. And some smashed pennies. So, I kind of like this one. I like this pen here. So I'm going to take this pen. And for my trading item, I'm going to reach into my pocket here, and I'll put it in a lottery ticket. I always like to carry a couple of these in my wallet, because most times I forget my pack back at the truck, and all my trading goodies are there. So I'll just throw that in, sign a logbook, put the cash back, make sure you hide it as well as it was before you find it, go home, log my entry at geocaching.com. Wilkins Regional Park is located 15 kilometers west of Prince George via Otway Road. The park is 57 hectares in size and has a large system of trails offering scenic views of the enormous cottonwood trees and the Chaco River. This is a location of one of the caches. The geocaching community would not be as large as it is today without the aid of the internet. To celebrate that fact, I'm featuring a Geosite of the month. This month, we're visiting georadio.org. GeoRadio is a site hosted by a gentleman named Delta Dog down in Mississippi in the U.S. Each week, he has a podcast, which is an internet talk show that's available as a download. He interviews different people from all over the world. As of this taping, there are 2 episodes, but there are more in the works. The episodes are very fun, very entertaining, and incredibly informative. So let's go visit his site, georadio.org. This month we feature georadio.org, Feeding the Addiction. Let's take a look. Georadio.org. As it says on the website, Geocaching Radio is a free internet audio program for the geocaching community by the geocaching community. In this kid-safe show, we interview different cachers from all over the world, not just Mississippi. The show is available as a download in either MP3 format or an iPod format, better known as an iPodder show. Let's take a quick look around the website. We have our main page here, which is what we're looking at, which has essential information on the show describing what it is and different things that you can do to contribute towards the show. We have a download link. As of this taping, they only have 2 episodes. However, each episode is available as a high bitrate version and a low bitrate version. I've already downloaded one version. Let's give it a listen.
Do you find yourself spending hundreds of dollars on fancy electronic gizmos and expensive gas for your vehicle just so you can go romping throughout the woods to find little trinkets in little boxes hidden by someone you don't know? If so, you may either be a geocacher or just plain crazy. Well, welcome everyone to the first ever episode of Geocaching Radio.
So it's an interesting show. Each episode is approximately half an hour long. They have good interviews. They tell some really great stories. There's a click for a podcast feed, which on your browser won't look like anything, but it means everything to an iPodder program. Record yourself. This is rather interesting. On this page, they give you a basic tutorial on how to record yourself, save the file, and send it to them. In this way, these guys are almost open source like. If you have a story you'd like to tell, put it on tape, so to speak, and send it to them. Next on the list, contributors. Just telling you how, again, you can contribute to this website. Record yourself, email them with your stories. Make some music. These guys are looking for theme music. And tell your friends. Tell your friends about these guys. Tell your friends about my show. And here's the list of people who have been on the show so far. Next on the list is a show blog. It's basically giving you a run-by-run daily account, standard blog stuff. And a contact link, which will automatically fire up your email program. You have a couple links down on the side for geocaching, cache in, cache out, and the Mississippi Geocachers Association. Also, the Michigan Geocaching Organization, and a little link for their own site, which you can copy and put onto your site if you wish to link to these guys. So there you go, georadio.org, a weekly geocaching program available for download off the internet or using your iPodder program. You can have it as a feed. It's fairly new right now, only 2 episodes, but it's starting to take off like a wildfire. Guys, good luck. Christian Winther Regional Park is located on the south shore of the Salmon River, 30 kilometers north of Prince George via the Hart Highway 97. The park is 70 acres in size and has a short 700-meter trail that travels along the Salmon River and back through some new growth forest. The park features 2 acres of lawn for you to enjoy a game or a group gathering. Facilities at the park include picnic tables and fire pits. This is the location of one of the caches. There are a great number of questions in the geocaching community. Micros, good or bad? Where to hide a cache? And lampposts, should they really be a cache or not? The question I'm going to attempt to answer in this issue is paper versus paperless caching. 2 popular ways to go, and what you choose is up to you. Myself, I just recently picked up this Palm 125 off of eBay, and I'm learning how to use it. So at no means am I an expert. However, I am going to show you what I do for myself. So you may be asking yourself, why choose paperless over paper caching? Well, for me, the reason is simple. If I decide to go on a trip, and I want to do some caching along the way, as a premium member, I can do a pocket query on geocaching.com and have up to 500 caches loaded into my GPS receiver. Now, if I were to print off a page for every one of those caches, I'd be taking a very large stack of paper with me. Now, you throw in paper costs, printer costs, and as we all know, ink costs a small fortune. It adds up in a rather large hurry. So, I'm going paperless. I'm trying with my little Palm Pilot. I'm going to focus on 3 programs used for paperless caching. The first program is called Geocaching Swiss Army Knife, or GSAC. The next program I use is a freeware program called Plucker. And the third program I use is called ACDC for the Palm Pilot, which is also a paid-for program. GSAC is a program that I'll use to download the data from geocaching.com. From there I will generate a series of web pages that Plucker will then translate into something to put onto the Palm. From there, when I'm driving down the road, when my GPS receiver indicates that I'm near a cache, I'll simply be able to enter its name into my Palm Pilot and bring up the cache details. ACDC is simply an imaging program. All I'll be using that program for is to put on cheater pictures, or what do they call them? Spoiler pictures. That's the word I'm looking for. So let's go inside and figure out how to use these programs. Westlake Provincial Park is located 22 kilometers southwest of Prince George on the Blackwater Road on the north shore of Westlake. The park is a day-use park where visitors can enjoy fishing, boating, swimming, hiking, and in the winter, cross-country skiing and tobogganing. There is a volleyball net in the main day-use area. A group picnic site with picnic shelter and wood stove, horseshoe pits, fire circle, and playfield is available. Westlake's day-use area has all the ingredients for an ideal family outing. Sunbathers will find the perfect spot to spread a blanket on the extensive sandy beach or under shady cottonwood trees. This is the location of one of the caches. So now we're inside and we're going to prepare our Palm handheld unit for paperless caching. Before I start, I'd like to thank the people at Geocacher University for their very informative site on paperless caching. This is where I learned most of my stuff. There's also a very good forum located on the geocaching.com website on the same topic. So, what do? Well, first off, you need to be a premium member. So once you've become a premium member, you can now use a feature called Pocket Queries. And in order to create a pocket query, you simply click on My Account and Run Pocket Queries. It's a bunch of legal stuff, a few rules, just quickly read through them, and then click on Create a New Query. Query name, simple questions. Myself, I'm heading down to the Okanagan here in a few weeks, so I'm going to call it OK Caches. Days to generate. You can run a query 7 days a week if you like. Myself, I generally do it once and then erase it. So today's Monday. I'll click on Monday. Run this query once, then remove it. Show me. I'll enter 500. How's that? From there, it just asks you a series of questions. What kind do you like? What kind of container that you found, haven't found, been found within the last days, have travel bugs, all kinds of questions. You also have a choice for terrain and difficulty. If you only want to find level 5 caches, help yourself. You can specify within countries or states and provinces. In my case, what I'll generally do is put in a specific cache waypoint name. Now, when I'm in the Okanagan, I'll be staying at a campsite that is near a cache called Grasslands. So what I've done is I've obtained its geocache number and I simply enter in there as a waypoint name. Within a radius of your maximum 500 miles or 750 kilometers, or 500 caches, whichever comes first. Again, a few more options, place during. Then we have your output format. Here you have a choice. First thing it'll ask you is your email address. You can either do it to your default geocaching email address, or you can enter a different one. If you're using, joe@myisp.com for your email address, but you're afraid of big attachments, so you say have a Hotmail account, you can enter it into this spot here. Format. Default is GPX, or you can also have it in the topographics lock format. However, GPX does work better with geocaching Swiss Army knife. You can also have it in an ebook format if you choose to use the program on your Palm for that device, for that program. And compress the file, that's always advisable because the file itself is rather huge. So you check off everything, make sure it all looks good, and click submit. So it comes back to this page, says, thanks, your query has been generated. You can run the search to the nearest cache page. So it generates this page, which shows us grasslands and other caches in the area. 500 caches to be exact. How far do we go? Well, let's go to the end. Page 25 of 25, let's scroll down to the bottom. It goes all the way to 193.4 kilometers south. That actually takes us right down into Washington State. So there you go, 500 caches. Now in the meantime, the file's been emailed to my geocaching.com address, and I'll simply check my email account to see if it's shown up yet. The files have now arrived. Of the two files, the ebook file is for the Palm Pilot Reader program. The GPX file format is the one we're interested in. We'll open this up in our geocaching Swiss Army knife program and we'll be able to put it to work. So here we have the contents of the GPX file. 500 caches, starting at Grasslands. Now as of right now, they're in alphabetical order. And you can go through and sort them out by however you'd like. In my case, I usually will go find the first one I like, the starting point, which in this case is Grasslands. Let's just find it here. So here's Grasslands, and you just simply right click on it and scroll down to set this cache as center point. So now that we have the caches sorted out, it's time to transfer them to our Palm device. To do that, it's a two-step process. First, click on File, Export, HTML files. This brings up a dialog box which gives you many options. One of the most important options is hints on the same page, not a separate link. You might want to check that one off. It makes the next process a lot easier. You have things that you can generate, things that you can leave behind, all kinds of options. I generally just mostly go with the default. I haven't had enough time to really play with this program yet. So when everything's set and it looks good, press the generate button. And away we go. And voila, this is what it generates. simple web pages that are actually stored on your hard drive. So if you're like me and really go techie caching, you now have 500 caches stored on your hard drive, the actual web pages. The caches are sorted out by name, place by, waypoint code, and other categories. So in my case, since I'm looking for grassland, I want to go name, click on G, and go down to grasslands. And this is the cache that I'll be starting at. And as you can see, here's my log entry. I actually did find the cache last year. I'm just using this as a starting point. So now that we have the pages generated, the next thing we have to do is get them onto our Palm device. For that, we use a program called Plucker. So Plucker is a little tricky to use the first time through, and I really recommend that you go to the Geocacher U website and follow their tutorial. Essentially, you add a new channel. Ask you for your name. Okay, caches. And this will simply take you through a dialog box. So we start off. We're using a local file, and that's where we have to go back and find where our cache pages are located. Now before I do that, let's just show you where they actually ended up. They ended up in My Documents, GSAC Pages, Cache. And the one important page that you have to find is called Index, which is right here. This is the main page that we were looking at earlier. That's the page you have to remember. So we're back to this dialog box. A local file. Choose file. Again, we're in the cache folder. We simply find a file called Index. So the next is spidering. Don't have to worry about anything here except for where it says retrieve files by following links, where it says breadth first. For limits, change to 3 and click on ignore links that are on a different server and only restrict to domain. Formatting you can generally ignore. Images you can play with and may or may not work with your particular device. Output options you can ignore. And destination is where you tell it where you want it to go when it's done. Now here it's only showing my older handheld device. I have to add my new one. So I just click on add on a new device and there it is. And it's also a USB connected device, and in this case it has a removable memory card, so I'm going to choose that. Click on OK. Scheduling, don't really have to worry about that one. Click on OK. And the next thing you do, highlight the channel and click on Update. It's now going through and taking each of those 500 pages and generating them to put onto your Palm device. This takes a while. So in the meantime, go grab yourself a latte. So Plucker is now done. Once it's completed, click on OK. And it's now time to sync your Palm device. In order to do that, just plug in your Palm device into your computer, press your hot sync button, and away you go. After the process is completed, you'll have 500 caches on your Palm Pilot that you can go out and play with. So now you have 500 caches loaded onto your PDA. What do? Well, take your unit and fire up your Pucker reader. Once you've opened your file, it will bring up your main listing. And it looks just like what we saw on the computer screen earlier. So we're looking for grasslands. So you press on Name, and it'll bring up an A to Z index. Press on G. Shows a group of G's, and we find grasslands. Click on it. And voila. A little hard to see with the reflections and such, but there's the grasslands webpage. And what it shows you is identical to what you see on the geocaching.com webpage. Has the information, the degrees of difficulty, the whole 9 yards, and even has a selected number of log entries. Now, for the secret hint, if you remember on the geocaching website, you have to click on it as a separate link. Well, earlier, if you remember, when we were setting up the dialog box, we told GSAC to include the hint on the page. So where is it located? It's actually on the very bottom of the page. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a little section there labeled Decoded Hints. Again, I'm not sure how well it's showing up in this image, but it's there, trust me. So you also have access to other features. You have Nearest Caches, which is the one I'll be mostly interested in. I'll be starting at that cache, so what's close by. Click on Nearest Caches, and again, you have a list of nearby caches. And again, you can choose any one of those, and it'll take you to that particular detail page. So there you go. 500 caches, one little palm handheld. Now, for the AC/DC program, if you're looking through these caches before you actually go visit them, and some of them have spoiler photos, you can right-click, save the picture, and then use the AC/DC program to actually put the picture onto your palm handheld device. Just another little trick, make it a little easier, because who wants to go out hiking for 2.5 hours and not find the cache? This isn't the end-all or be-all paperless caching. There's still more issues out there. Palm versus Pocket PC, Spinner versus GSAC, Plucker versus CacheMate, color versus black and white. So go out on the internet, do lots of research, and make a very informed decision. At this time, I'd like to thank the folks at Geocacher U website for their incredible page on paperless caching. It was with their assistance I was able to make this segment. Buckhorn Lake is located south of Prince George, 13 kilometers east from Highway 97 south on the Willow Kale Forest Road. The BC Forest Service has a small recreation site at the lake offering picnic tables and fire pits. The lake offers great canoeing opportunities or a chance to let the dog have a swim. This is the location of one of the caches. So that about wraps it up for episode 2 of Icenrye's Geocaching Videozine. Thanks for watching. Matter of fact, thank you to all of you who downloaded episode 1 from the archive.org website. As of this taping, the show's been downloaded close to 500 times. For that, I thank you. And also, thank you for your kind words and emails. I've been getting stuff from all over the world. This show's turned out to be fairly popular. So one last thing before I leave. Behind me, you'll see a sign for the University of Northern British Columbia, located here in Prince George. Why, you ask? Well, there are a multitude of caches located near this area. My Prince George Library cache, the Road to UNBC, and a few others. Prince George Sites of Interest number 5. Really nice, cute little cache. It's a tough one. But also, if you follow the Prince George Pentcachealon, the 6th and final step is called the finish line. And guess what? Yes, it's located near here. So, if you're ever in the Prince George area, take some time, find the first 5 caches, put the clues together, and maybe I'll see you at the finish line. So until episode 3 from the sunny Okanagan in southern British Columbia, this is Icenrye saying, cache on.